Well, hey,
Hey, hosers.
ManiacsMeat podcast, eh?
Hey, what you doing there, eh?
Episode 5. Yeah. Well, in honor of Josh's birthday, born in 1986, young pup,
Yes.
we're going to do the top 5. Our top 5. Not the, our. And we voted from 10 films we wrote down. And we judiciously elected 5.
Yes.
And now we're going to talk about those 5. Now, which 5 we're going to talk about first? I don't know. Alphabetical order.
Nah.
But, hey, Greg, what's up? But we're going to go and talk about our 5 films, and then we're going to record Slasher Sunday.
Slasher
so make sure you
Sundays.
look out for Slasher Sunday.
Tune in or tune out.
And you know what? It's going to be on Sunday.
Yeah, don't watch it after this, you know.
No. Just Sunday. Anyway, okay. So, first on the list, we got 5. First one, we'll go by alphabetical. Shopping Mall.
Oh.
1986. Shopping Mall. You want to give a rundown of Shopping Mall?
Chopping Mall is originally named Killbots, and it got terrible reviews right off the bat, and sales dropped and plummeted. And because a lot of parents were taking their kids to see it, thinking it was a Transformers movie, and so they pulled it, edited it, and changed them all to name it the Chopping Mall. And it's a fun little
This film hit theaters
twice. Yes.
Oh, believe me, if I was, 1986, if I was a 5-year-old and I was understanding about female genitals, I wouldn't mind seeing that film. There you go.
Could you see sitting there with your parents watching?
Just,
That's
yeah.
Transformers, Mom.
Hey, look, Barbara Crampton's titties.
Yeah.
Hey, I gotta go.
But it's a good movie. Takes place in a mall, shopping center, in 1986, which was back then the hub of
Hey, what's up?
A. And everyone went to the malls in the 80s. And
That was the only place to go in the 80s.
yeah, and so it's about the robots that are security systems called Protector 101s. There's 3 of them or 4 of them in the movie. I don't remember. I forget now.
I think there's 5.
5 of them. I think.
I know there's 3 on. Well, there's 3 on the first podium when the guy's explaining they used to explain the killbots and how they weren't called killbots, but and they were and the badge, scanning badge.
Yeah.
Here's the funny thing is, they're on this thing and they look cool. They look Johnny Five Alive. It's supposed to be like based off old kind of robots from the old 70s films or 60s films. But how the fuck are they supposed to get off that podium?
Yeah.
It looks like they go. They try
Just
to do
fall
that.
off, yeah.
It's kind of funny. But there's 3 there. But I think there's like 4 or 5 total.
It's funny you say that too, because in Short Circuit, if you remember, that Johnny Five they were originally military robots that were evil, and the lightning what turned him good.
Yeah.
It's kind of vice versa for this film.
Right.
And I think they were released the same year too, weren't they?
Oh, Short Circuit. What the hell?
I think that was 86. I could be wrong.
It was a little bit. It's got to be a little bit of time passing because the. Thank you. Come again. And Short Circuit was actually in The Burning in 1981, and he was quite the young pup.
All right. Yeah.
And he didn't have an accent, which is weird because he's an actor. That's how acting works.
Hollywood mysteries.
Wow.
Can't go wrong there.
Yeah, so it's got to be the late 80s, or 88 maybe?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. It's just, I know there's a lot of similarities.
It came out like right the same time, batteries not included kind of stuff hit the shows.
Yeah. But anyway, so back to the storyline. They have the robots, their new security system, and the first day on the job, if I'm not mistaken, a bunch of kids decide they want to party at the mall. They break in, and there's a lot of promiscuous sex going on in the shopping malls,
in the
furniture department.
Yeah.
And during a thunderstorm, lightning strikes the security module on the roof and short circuits these things, and they go on a killing rampage and wreak havoc throughout the mall. And a lot of good kills in it. I don't really know the body count in it. I didn't take notes on that. Everybody
except for one.
Dick Miller gets killed.
Dickie Miller. Oh, he gets electrocuted. Walter Paisley.
Yeah, Walter Paisley.
Reprising his name as his role in Buckets of Blood.
Great film.
Dick Miller is amazing.
I feel like Dick Miller is the grandfather that kind of...
He watched us grow
up, and we watched him grow old.
Yes.
Rest in peace, Dick Miller.
Rest in peace, Dick Miller. And He's actually in 2 of the films we'll be talking about
Yes.
tonight.
Yes.
And but yet he's in every film.
He is,
He
and
really is.
he just plays almost the same role too. I noticed. Not really. I mean, he does play a lot of roles, but
Yeah, well, his
he's more-
inflections are the same.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
he is Dick Miller, but he's playing a character.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing.
So yeah, like I said, they wreak havoc throughout the mall, and the kids are trying to stop the robots from destroying and killing them. One little fun note I will say about this: I noticed they were only allowed to film in the mall while the mall was closed.
Right.
So if you watch the scenes where the mall is like populated and people are shopping, there's not a single store open.
Right.
They all have the gates down in front of all the
Oh,
shops.
so all the chain gates
Yeah.
are down.
So everyone's
like,
walking around a closed mall like they're actually shopping, and no
well,
one's.
I mean, if you look at the mall, isn't that the most energetic, crazy mall you've ever seen? You
Oh, yeah,
have-
kids on skateboards riding
yeah,
through.
kids are on skateboards.
Yeah.
There's people making out everywhere.
Yeah.
You have supermodels and
Yeah.
like pageant models.
They're just
like,
walking. It's like a Where's Waldo page. like-
Exactly. Okay, so where's the Killbot? Okay,
Yeah.
spot the Killbot.
Yep.
There you go. It's kind of a crazy thing. And that dive bar,
Oh,
the
yeah.
diner that they're going
Yeah.
through, they actually have Slumber Party Massacre posters on the wall.
Yep. Galaxy of Terror was there.
Yeah,
too,
Galaxy of Terror was there, which is a great one.
Yep.
Robert Englund, Sig
Yep.
Haig, Slug Rape.
Yeah, that's a great film.
great film. And then you randomly see like a co-ed shower area, changing room, girls' locker room in the mall to work at a sleazeball diner.
Yeah, right.
You have a locker room where everyone gets naked.
Oh, that cook
Just
too.
to put-
That cook was great. He was filthy, just
Yeah,
gross,
filthy.
smoking
And-
cigarettes while he's cooking food.
Yep. And then the nice orca, the whale.
Yeah.
Mistress or waitress, more butter.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I love him.
Yeah, but like it's just a crazy film. I guess one thing I would say about 1986. We'll talk more about this later, but 1986 is when everything has to be the next step over.
Yeah.
Everything's got to be pushed up, and the more we get into these films, the more you'll see it just goes to that next level.
Yep. I think 1986 was also a turning point for horror cinema.
Absolutely.
I feel that special effects became a better thing.
Mhm.
You know, they
And
became,
it was unfortunately this and that. It's one of those things that again we'll talk about more. But it's one of those. It was a necessity because horror was dying
It was.
and needed a resurgence. And what you do is you go bigger, you go home.
Yep.
And
that's
that's
true.
what happened in
Sure.
1986.
It's definitely one of those we can see where they were putting their budget at that time and stuff. They weren't putting it up their nose.
We're not saying what budget they had, but whatever they had, they put it someplace.
Well, they used 800,000.
800,000.
800,000. You can tell most of that went to the robots.
No, that all went to the robot. I mean, and basically, well, actually, the best kill in the film for me, because there was no nudity kills, because if someone was naked and getting killed, that'd be pretty good. But like the best kill for me, the one that kind of set the scene, was the headshot.
Yeah.
And that there's no cutaway. I think that's the thing about that headshot too, is you see it and there was no cutaway. Her head just explodes.
Yep.
So that was a very well edited.
That's what I'm saying.
scene.
That was I think 1986 was the turning point for a lot of horror films. You know,
I
I'm not
would
saying they didn't do that early on,
Yeah.
but it wasn't as known.
I would say that headshot was probably just as good as Maniac's headshot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that kind of
definitely-
layer,
definitely
that
hand in hand.
area of quality there.
They shot the film in 22 days too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Oh,
pretty.
22 days is pretty good.
Yeah, you're really trucking along there.
I mean, Dawn of the Dead had the same kind of thing, but it was like 3 or 4 months.
I also I love how they have the deactivation is the
Klaatu
Klaatu.
Verata Nikto.
Yeah, and that's a nod to the day the Earth stood still is how they shut down Gort, but also Evil Dead.
Evil Dead, it was Army of Darkness.
Army of Darkness,
Army
yeah.
of Darkness. And I think they had I'm not a Star Wars fan, but also in Star Wars.
Yeah. There's I think it was like characters named.
Two
Each of 'em.
characters, and the race is called like Nikto is the race,
Yeah.
and then like Klaatu is like a character. I
Yeah.
don't know Star Wars, but
That was another film.
but they
so-
do a lot of this, and actually it was also in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles the cartoon.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Klaatu.
But so I'm not gonna destroy the ending of the movie. You definitely have to watch it. It's a good movie. A lot of
You get to see Barbara Crampton. Well, I don't know what's with her getting her leg hurt, because she gets her leg hurt in a lot of films. But this, she gets set on fire and turned into a man stunt double. So that's
Yes.
good. I like
Yep. Yeah.
that. Good.
I think that was the director. They set on fire there for a brief second.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. I might have read that.
I was
wrong.
gonna say it, and I didn't get a chance to, but I wanted to actually see who directed this film. But
Oh,
I didn't.
I always have the director's notes. I made notes this time because I'm organized. No, I'm looking at Neon Maniacs here. I'm sorry. I'm all over the place with this.
Directed by Jim Wynorski.
And written.
Wynorski.
He also wrote it too.
Oh, okay.
At least that's what IMDb says.
Yeah, and the one thing that we will go on, because I didn't mention it yet, because I was pissed at this other guy that I saw a long time ago who never fucking mentioned this when he was talking about this film. Because, you know, new fucking horror fans only know new horror.
Bandwagon.
They're stupid, bandwagon assholes. You know, they talked about Barbara Crampton and they said, who's next? And I fucking I don't even know what that is. That's one of those newfangled things that come out on DVDs.
I wasn't that impressed with the film. That's stupid.
Probably, because it's new. All new films suck. And of course, he mentioned, you know, Dick Miller.
Yeah.
Because you do. And then he said Buckets of Blood. And then he goes, I never watched it, though. It's like, how do you know? Dude,
How can you be a horror fan?
How can you do horror movies on YouTube and not have not watched Buckets of Blood?
Amateurs.
And the one person, and as far as 80s films, this is a sacrilege to ignore, was Kelly Maroney. Which I don't know if that's the way Maroney. It looks
I don't know how to say
it looks like
names
Maroney.
Yeah, I just.
But Kelly Maroney was in Night of the Comet. And Night of the Comet is one of the craziest, beautiful, most insane, I don't know, just sci-fi, elegant, but like it's got that madness, like Neon Maniacs madness to it. And it's one of those films, 1981, I think.
Yes.
Night of the Comet. It's just, he probably doesn't even know that film exists. You know what I mean? It's just one of those new film idiots. And right now we're listening to Warlock, little Doro Pesh, but it wasn't made in 1980. It wasn't released in 1986.
87.
Yeah, I checked. It was
It's
1987.
okay. Close enough.
But it was, you know, we recorded then. I can't read my writing.
I can't read anything.
I can't.
I'm illiterate, so. what is
Yeah,
it?
there you go. I don't know. My eyes are just kind of screwed up right now. But yeah, the Night of the Comet, great. So Chopping Mall has a lot of lineage to it as far as the actors and stuff
I
go.
think so, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just a good film. It's one of the ones that it's like, so it's so fucking weird and dirty and trashy and sleazy.
I
and
love
rough.
the robotic hand on the cover because it's not even in the movie.
Yeah, it makes you look like it's gonna be this weird like a Terminator slasher film, but then it just gives you that. And I understand like a lot of people might be displeased with that, but I like it quite a bit.
Can't go wrong with that, man. I like it.
Yeah, number one.
Number one. What's number two?
4 more.
I don't know alphabetical order.
Why don't we just go for my opinion,
Yeah, just go for
the
it.
best,
Hands down.
hands down the best film, probably from the 80s.
I don't know. I mean, it's definitely my top 5. My top 5 always changes. People that know me know that. There's so much to say about this movie. I don't think we even have enough time to talk about it.
Night of the Creeps.
But Night of the Creeps, hands down, is one of the greatest films to ever grace the silver screen and my eyes.
Yes.
You know, it was done by Fred Decker, who also went on to do Monster Squad.
Yes.
And there's even a little homage in it. If you're watching the movie, you'll see Go Monster Squad written on the bathroom wall. This is before Monster Squad, which is even cooler.
Oh my God!
Yeah, so
a premonition.
Yeah, so go figure about that, you know. And what was the one thing I said on the wall? I said Striper rocks.
Striper.
It's because the girl that did the costuming, I think, was married to the lead singer of Striper at the time.
We all make mistakes.
Yes. Whatever. But it's a good movie. It really, really is. It's got space slugs and aliens and zombies.
Oh, it's got everything.
Tom Atkins alone is
Tom
a selling
Atkins,
point for this movie.
The man of action.
Oh,
Tom
thrill me.
Atkins.
I just
Thrill
love
me.
it. I should have got that tattooed on my knuckles.
Actually, we still can. You get it on your left nut, I'll get it on my right nut.
Nice.
We'll scissor them together.
Sounds like a party to me.
Yeah, I like it. And also, the intermingling of stories.
Yes. Yep.
Bringing back the zombie axe killer.
Yep. Yeah, that was so out there. Like, that was when I first saw that scene as a child. It scared the living hell out of me. You know, that whole scene where Tom Atkins has the gun to his back and he just slowly turns around. It has like this like eye and just things are missing and just zombie
God
stuff.
damn it, I killed you.
Yeah. And then he blasts him in the head and, you know, slugs come out and stuff. But I guess we should really get to what the story's about, you know?
Well, what the story's about is basically this alien race has this biological weapon, basically, and there's a kind of a mutiny on board. The one alien is running away with this weapon, and basically, I don't know if he wants them to have it or he's trying to
I
basically.
think he's a zombie too himself because he had like white eyes.
He had white eyes. There was something wrong with him.
Yeah.
And basically, he chucked this out into space, and I'm probably sure he was dealt with afterwards.
Mhm.
This landed, is your typical thing where people were like, "Oh, what was that?"
Yeah.
I don't know. It landed on Earth, and these two making out couples in this nice, beautiful car in the 50s. I like how the film starts like black and white
Yeah.
and kind of goes into.
Goes the color, yeah.
So she's left in the car because you abandoned a girl in the car instead of
In the
having
woods,
sex.
yeah.
Because I'm gonna go look at this thing instead of getting laid. Get laid first, guys. There's a rule.
Yeah.
Take care of number one, then go see what the thing
That
was.
story would have been completely different if we just stayed in the car.
We would just stay in the car and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
It would have just been a slasher film then.
Probably.
Because he would have got an axe in the back of the head, but at least he would have blew his nuts out.
Yeah,
first.
that canister would just sat there in the woods for years.
Yeah.
Never tampered with.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then it being Ghostbusters 3.
Oh, yeah.
Shit.
Let's
Wow.
Let's not talk about
Let's
that.
not get into that. Anyway, thrill me. Anyway, so basically what happens is, and this is a weird take of itself, giving the time lapse.
Yeah.
The girl ends up getting murdered by the psychopath. The cop ends up taking care of the psychopath with a shotgun, which is awesome. And while the guy's rummaging around in the woods trying to find this canister, he finds it broken. One of the slugs gets into his mouth, but for some reason, that's as far as it goes. They find the body. They put him on cryogenic freezing, which I guess they had that back then.
I guess. Was Walt Disney cryogenically frozen?
Yeah,
I mean, maybe they did. I don't know.
with Hitler's dick.
Oh.
And that's as far as it went. And all of a sudden, you get these fraternity organizations that basically have these two pledges they try to get in. Say, okay, we want you to go steal a body from the morgue. What morgue? Where the fuck were they? I don't know. That wasn't your standard morgue.
Yeah.
It was a college morgue, I guess. And dump it on a different Delta sororities,
freak everybody out, kind of
sororities, doorstep, freak everybody out. So they went to try to do it. This man and his handicapped friend.
Yeah, JC.
JC, yeah, basically went over there. They accidentally unleashed this guy, scared shitless, like screaming like a banshee.
Yeah, like a banshee.
Like a banshee, and run away. And basically, it all just starts from there.
Yep.
The head explodes. The corpse is walking around.
Yep.
Scares the shit out of the people at the other sorority house, and things just go from there. I don't want to say too much because watch the fucking film.
Such a good movie.
It's such a good film.
Yeah, and another fun fact is Robert Kurtzman and Howard Berger, both big special effects gurus, also started K&B Special Effects that does not Night of the Living Dead, Walking Dead now, play frat brothers in this, and later on Zombies.
Yeah.
They did their own special effects, but I think that's pretty cool.
And this is one of those ones, a very quotable movie.
Oh, yeah.
Good thing. You got good news and bad news. Good news is your boyfriend's here. The bad news, they're all dead.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Thrill Me. He says it 5 times total, I think, in the movie he said.
Thrill me. Thrill me is his catchphrase. It's one of those films, and I just kind of like it. And the self-sacrifice at the end is a big move. Hey, the guy's got duct tape mouth. Get the fuck out of here! It's great.
I guess they gotta leave it open for a sequel too, don't they?
And they do completely leave this open. I'm surprised this wasn't bastardized to death.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how this escaped being bastardized to death with 25 fucking sequels, because it does leave it wide open.
Yeah.
Because the Tom Atkins character ends up getting worms in his fucking brain. He's basically a singed corpse walking around. He falls. His head immediately splits open, which is actually a lot shorter of a gestation time as they need. But hey, it's a fucking film.
Yep.
And then all the I don't know.
Well, how do we know they weren't already in his brain? That's why he taped his mouth. He was trying to keep them in, maybe.
I think they were trying to keep him out because he was
I know. But I'm saying that as a premonition, but it's still cool. I mean,
or maybe he picked it up. Maybe when he killed the zombie guy. Maybe he picked it up at some other time. Who fucking knows? I think all the alcohol that he was drinking probably killed it.
Yeah,
but
he
drank a lot of alcohol in that movie.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, but then all the worms end up going into
The cemetery.
the cemetery. But then the cool part is you go back to the original story, and the fucking alien light and the spaceship
the alien
kind
goes
of flies
over.
over trying to find these little things going on. I don't know. I actually, the more I just talked about it, the more like, if it was well done, you'd have Return of the Living Dead, basically.
Oh.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah. It was the same kind of concept. So, and that was Return of the Living Dead was,
I don't know.
91?
Yeah. Return of the Living Dead was 80s.
89,
Yeah, that was
89,
7, 88.
somewhere in there. So, I mean, that was a great one. So, if that was redone with that same kind of candor and look and feel, and it was just simply the leaving off where they starting where they left off, the zombie starts crawling up and shit goes down. That would have actually been a pretty good film.
I think.
Don't do it now.
No, don't touch it. Just let it go.
But in the 80s,
You
it
missed
probably
your
would
time.
have been pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Another thing, too, I'd like to point out, all the main characters are named after major horror directors.
Yes, they are. There's Cronenberg.
That's the university.
Yeah.
But you have Romero and Carpenter, Toby Hooper. They're all, Symphony Cronenberg. Well, I guess it's Corman University, not Cronenberg.
Cronenberg.
It was Corman University, which after Roger Corman.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're right. And it's just a lot of names, even.
This is a giant homage to everything we love.
It is. It really is. Any real horror fan will enjoy a lot of winks and nods while you're watching. You'll be like,
so this is. I mean, I guess I hate to. I won't romanticize. I'll just say it. This is a love letter to all horror fans.
It really is. Fred Dekker, for it being, I think, one of his first major role movie, killed it. And like I said, if you love Monster Squad, you'll love this.
Right.
You
and I think this is the number one thing. If you don't like this film, you don't like horror films.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, don't even talk about horror if you don't like.
That might sound like a very bold claim, but if you don't like this film, you don't like horror films.
It's very true.
Because this is a love letter to all horror films out there.
So many winks and nods. Like I said, Tom Atkins alone. I mean, he's in so many horror movies too.
My notes for this film, because I kind of wrote down a couple things just to keep us on track, was Night of the Creeps, Tom Atkins, exclamation point.
That's all you need.
That's all I needed.
We could have literally just said that. And if you're any true horror fan, you'll just base.
Oh, this is great.
That's it.
And of course, Tom Atkins' other other claim to fame is Halloween 3.
Yes, and Creepshow.
And
Played
Creepshow.
the abusive douchebag dad that threw out the kids' comics.
Right.
Which the kid is also Stephen King's kid in real life, by the way.
Wow.
Joe
But
Hill.
he's a fuckhead.
Actually, he's actually better than his dad, I think.
Wow, less than a fuckhead.
Yeah, I think his stuff's good. But
And of course, Halloween 3 is a great film.
I love Halloween 3, and it gets so much
and
shit
the
from the
thing is,
bandwagon. People just, this is Michael Myers.
We've loved Halloween 3 since it came out.
Yes.
Not now, like everyone else does.
Yeah. Yeah. People didn't understand when Halloween was being made, that was meant to be a trilogy. Michael Myers was only ever supposed to be in the first movie. He was never supposed to be Grace any more than that. They were supposed to be a trilogy film about Halloween. But I guess it caught on. No one else wanted to see anything else.
Right. I'd like to take some moment now.
All right.
And let's go into... I want you to heavily talk about this, because I have a little bit to say about this, and it's more just like, that's good. But I only watched this a little bit ago, maybe like 5 years ago now, because I bought this on Laserdisc, is Invaders from Mars, remake by Toby Hooper, which you can tell loved cocaine. Another film that came out the same year of Toby Hooper loving cocaine would be Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. That guy was on all kinds of drugs.
He was a very blown out individual.
Exactly. But here we go. Invaders from Mars. How about this?
I think it's a great movie, especially for a remake. It pays a lot of homage to the original. It doesn't butcher the original. It really stays on keys and points of the original movie, I feel. And even the special effects, I mean, you can really tell they put the budget into like the aliens themselves, the spaceships. Just there's a lot of homage, and I'm really surprised because a lot of remakes usually try to steer away from it.
Would you almost say it was like a harken, like there was a homage, a little nod to V in here when the lady eats the frog?
Yeah.
I know it wasn't a cat or a chinchilla or whatever, but it was still.
Oh, absolutely. I can definitely see that.
I think this film, among others, have showcased the fact that the 80s was the decade to remake 50s and 60s horror. Horror sci-fi.
A lot of them were done like that.
Because they were all great, though. Like, all these big, huge remakes, The Thing from Another World, Invaders from Mars, The Fly.
Yep.
I can name some more, but I won't. They were all old films remade, and they were perfection.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You can't ever go wrong with
And
that.
Karen Black?
She holds my heart forever.
Karen Black, Heart Attack.
Karen Black is a beautiful, talented woman who is very underrated in the horror community by the bandwagon people. I will say a lot. She is very noted by the real horror fans.
Real horror fans.
But, today's youth does not know about Karen Black, and it's very sad because she's hot. I think she's hot even now as a corpse. Ooh, that was you. That was me. I just pulled a Paul there and said some weird stuff. You're rubbing off on me, man.
Okay.
And but really though, she's hot in she's hot in everything.
Trilogy of Terror.
Trilogy of Terror. She's gorgeous. Burnt Offerings. there's not a movie that you're like, oh, Karen Black's ugly in this. And I think if you say that, you're not one of us. But you know, Karen Black.
Karen Black.
That's just a selling point there. She's like the female Tom Atkins, if you ask me.
Right. And also the guy who plays one of the military leaders. I'm trying to remember his name.
He's in everything.
He's in everything.
He was in
too.
Return of the Living Dead.
He was there. Well, that's it. He was the main
both of
guy.
them.
He was the main. He was one of the main owners of the boss of the company that held the corpses in the barrels that started the whole thing. And he was in Return of the Living Dead. Again, we're going to talk about Return of the Living Dead again by thinking about this film. So I mean, '86 had a lot of references to other things, but he was just so good in this film. He was so good in this film. He was like 5-star great in Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
And that was, of course, a John A. Russo story, Pennsylvania Pride. So let's go back to Pennsylvania for a second. That's how good it is. Not a Living Dead. And this film is just spot on. It has a lot of action. It doesn't bore you. It doesn't have slow points. It has a nod to the original with the sheriff.
Oh, the sheriff in the film, when he goes to do his investigation for the first time, after the little boy is claiming all this crazy stuff happens, he's walking up the hill and turns to his partner and says, "Man, I haven't been on this hill since I was a child." And he ended up being the original little boy from the original movie.
Yeah. So that was a nod right back to the
Yep.
original with the actor, which is great. That's kind of shit is what I dig. I dig that.
Toby Hooper directed this. It was also written by Dan O'Bannon.
Dan O'Bannon.
Who also did...
And Don Jacobi or whatever.
Yeah. Well, the original storyline was Richard Blake.
Richard
who did it,
Blake.
And they redid his screenplay of this, and I think they did a really good job on it. But Stan Winston did the special effects on this film, and he was working on Aliens at the exact same time.
Oh, really?
Jumping back and forth between studios. So I couldn't imagine that kind of life.
And you have to understand, there were some films released in 1986.
Yes.
But we kind of stay away from the bandwagon films. We want to go a little
That
bit,
was our goal.
A little bit deeper. But the thing is, we're talking about these films in a way where these films should be bandwagon films because that's how good they are, but they weren't. Just because of timing or distribution or blah, blah, blah.
I just am confused on why a lot of the films we could talk about aren't more popular. Because you always talk to the bandwagon films like, oh, they're fun, they're campy, they're cheesy. It's like, well, what did a lot of these movies, like, what did Night of the Creeps not bring to the table that you don't?
Yeah, there's so much stuff in Alien that didn't get brought to the table that Night of the Creeps did, for example. Like I would take Night of the Creeps any day over Alien.
Yeah, I love Alien, and I'm even saying I'll take Night of the Creeps over that any day.
Yeah. And it has aliens in it.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Look at the fuck, you know.
Tom Atkins, you know. Don't need to keep talking
Could
about
you
that.
imagine Tom Atkins in a spaceship in his panties?
God.
Oh my god.
That's not a nightmare. That's a dream come true.
That's a rabbit hole kind of moment. But it's just one of those things that I just don't know.
Yeah. Just watch the movie and form your own opinion. Don't listen to us. We like the movie. And Cannon put it out too.
What did you think about the main brain that kind of controlled everything?
If Krang from Ninja Turtles was not a complete inspiration to, I don't know what is. Because that thing, when he comes morphing out of that hole, it's like Krang from the Ninja Turtles. Like, it's just literally, and I know Ninja Turtles didn't come out with Krang until, I think I'm not mistaken, 88.
88, yeah.
And so those Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird were definitely watching Invaders from Mars, I think.
Yeah, I definitely assume so.
Because that thing is just Krang.
That's Krang. It's basically, yo, bumbling. Yeah, it's so fucking good. I love it.
Yes.
All right, moving right along. Now, we're going to go on to his side. He's going to have to talk a lot because it's time for him. It's his pick.
What are we doing?
Because we're leaving one for last because we're going to talk a little bit crazy stuff about it and things. But we're going to go with his pick. Neon Maniacs. Neon Maniacs is a different film. If you want film with narrative and things like concise and integral storylines that are, you know, have like cohesiveness and things like that, well, stay away from this one. It was plagued from the get-go with budgetary issues and who's going to write it. They shut down like 6 or 7 times to film it. People that were in it quit, and then there's new people at the end. It was just a whole thing. There is some good points to make about the film, but it's a crazy fucking film. The writer killed himself in 1996. Maybe this was the reason why. I don't know.
Haunted him for the rest of his life.
Haunted, basically. But Neon Maniacs is basically your typical slasher, except it's not your typical slasher.
It's like if the Village People made a horror movie and mixed Nightbreed into the mix.
Exactly.
Because literally all the Neon Maniacs are literally Village People.
You know, it's just really weird. You have these group of mutants of some kind. They terrorize all of a sudden. It wasn't like a lineage. They didn't really pull a lineage or anything.
Nope, it just happens. It's like no one talks about it. Like it just happens.
It happens like a sudden storm, and then it goes away, and then you have to rebuild your life. It's one of those kind of things. They terrorize this group of teenagers trying to have sex and have parties and have fun in the park. They left one survivor, and she was tormented with nightmares and dreams, and tries to go back to her normal life. And everyone keeps on asking her, "Where's my kids?" or this or this or what happened.
Right.
She's like, "I don't know." Meanwhile, the cops are trying to figure it out, but they don't seem to give a fuck or know how to do anything. The only person that seems to understand what's going on is this young woman that's supposed to be a little kid named Paula, who's obviously 27.
Easily.
And she figures it out because she's a horror movie buff. She makes horror movies. She loves horror and monsters, and she wants to get to the bottom of this right now.
Mm-hmm.
She figures out their weakness. She figures out their layers, and then tries to get everybody on her side to fight the day. And that's the movie.
There's so many plot holes in it that a lot of it doesn't even make sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the biggest confusing parts of this whole film is the fact that they are allergic to water. They can't be in the rain. They find out, usually, they arm everyone with squirt guns.
Squirt guns.
But yet they live at the Golden Gate Bridge, which is surrounded mostly by water.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And it has tides that go up.
Yeah.
And
Like
down.
they're literally right by the water.
Like,
So if I was allergic to something, I would not live near it.
So exactly. I'm really allergic to cats, so I have 100 of them.
Yes.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's that
Mm-hmm,
film.
mm-hmm.
The special effects though are fun. They're campy. They're, you got a samurai and a biker.
Can we name these off? We have a samurai, we have a surgeon, we have a biker, we have an Indian, we have a cyclops guy, we have an ape guy, we have a medieval archer.
Yep.
Let's see what else we have. We have an electrical dude. Let's see. Am I missing any?
No, there's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them, and no two are the same. They're all different.
Yeah, there's a lot of script issues to do. They lost the scripts and stuff for a lot of it.
And most of the guys all the monsters quit, so none of the prosthetics fit the monsters later.
Yeah, they literally took like 3 months off in between shoots for some reason, due to budgeting or disagreements, and so the guys that played the Maniacs originally ended up bailing out. They had to recast everyone for the Maniacs.
Mm-hmm.
Suits didn't fit. Certain aspects of Maniacs would change. They saw in the beginning that weren't at the end. Little pieces of clothing they couldn't wear because they just didn't fit them or looked too baggy.
Yeah, and like some of them are just out of this world. Like the Cyclops lizard dude.
Oh my god!
Random.
Yeah, it is very random.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a Cyclops lizard alien because he had a real elongated head and
Right.
just weird. And that eye doesn't fit. It's like a little human eye. It's like
And it's just like, and it's off. It's crooked.
yeah,
a
it
little
just
crooked
doesn't
eye.
even make sense. Even like
Mm-hmm. Well, it's just one of those things that is just really weird. One thing about this film that we did pull out with the monsters was the surgeon was played by Andrew DeVolf. I don't know last name,
yeah.
I can never say his last name, but he was Wishmaster.
yes,
He was the guy who played Wishmaster 1 and 2 in the Djinn, and he also played a film that wasn't very good, like Night of the Living something or other with Jeffrey Combs. That wasn't very good, but he's a great actor.
I like the guy. He's nice.
Yeah, he's a great actor, and we did pull that on there. Paula, I like to say that she is. I can't remember now. What was I gonna say? The guy, the guy who does the countdown every year.
Oh, Dick Clark.
Dick Clark. Dick Clark is the world's oldest teenager. Paula is the world's oldest 11-year-old. Because
She
it's
is
obviously
not 11 in that
she's
movie.
obviously she's like this much shorter than everybody else, but that makes me a kid.
Yeah, it's just she wears her hat like to the side, like
Yeah,
where
she's
it's
like, well, what's up? You know,
Yeah.
I'm a kid. I don't know what
I'm
I'm
a
doing.
kid,
I have
yeah.
no idea.
I love her hat though, the Nostromo
It is pretty good.
hat from
It is
Aliens.
pretty good.
Yeah, it's not a talented movie in any means, but it's entertaining. Like I said, we cover a lot of the lesser known horror films, so I mean, if you're into cheesy, fun times, check it out.
It's one of those films like I would like. I know for a fact because I've done this a few times. You go to like a Halloween party where you have a bunch of people over. You put like 976 Evil 2 in, and then you just let it play, and then you have a good time talking about it, and now and again you go, oh, look, breasts.
Yeah.
Or you go, oh, look, this or that. You know what I mean? It's like one of those films where you're just not going to sit down and try to watch a narrative film from beginning to end.
Yeah.
But it's definitely an interesting film. I will say again, if you want a crazy film exactly like this with a lot of fucking weird ass zombies and aliens and shit and violence and things that just don't make any sense, Night of the Comet. Again, Night of the Comet. Right there. Night of the Comet. I actually dated a girl from L.A. Well, she is in L.A. But it was interesting to hear her perspective because she never watched it before, and to see L.A. in this film completely deserted.
Yeah.
I don't know how they did that.
Yeah, that's one of those things. There's a lot of stuff like that. Like, I always wonder how they do that in certain movies, especially with lower budget films like that. Like,
yeah, how did you
literally desert
And
LA?
she's like, she was mentioning, oh, that I know where that is, and I know that. It's like, how the hell? Like, okay, this is really L.A. then. Like, how the fuck did they desert this place?
Yeah.
To make it to film that? It's like,
that was like Day of the Dead. Remember when they went to
Yeah.
the city? It's like the whole city.
The whole city was just
deserted.
Deserted with shit fucking flying
Yeah.
everywhere. How the hell did you actually quadrant the whole area off? And how much money do you think they had to spend?
God. Yeah, because how do you just tell people like, no, you can't go home. You can't go this way.
Nope, sorry, bud.
Work. You can't make it to work tonight.
Sorry.
Because there's office buildings and shit there. Like,
they're
people
shooting
have
a film.
jobs.
Sorry, yeah. You know that $1 billion contract's gonna have to wait till
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah, especially when it's whole like cities from an aerial view of just.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Biker Zombie's
Desolate
got
waste.
he rolls the streets today.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. But Neon Maniacs is definitely an interesting film. You gotta love the raining blood dream.
Yeah.
Just raining blood. She's freaking the fuck out. No one knows what to do.
Nothing to do with Slayer.
No. Anyway, they're a fucking bunch of sellout faggots.
Oh.
Yeah. But anyway, there you go.
Savage.
So, Neon Maniacs.
Yep. I definitely. What would you rate that? You think?
I'm like a 7.5
Is that as a horror fan or as a bandwagon jumper?
as a overall film.
Overall, all right.
It's not like there's other films I'd go to.
Yeah, it's definitely a movie I'd put in if I was painting. or
Neon.
something.
I was just gonna say I watched Neon Maniac while I was painting a painting and while I was taking a shower.
Yeah.
Like I just set it up and I was just like taking a shower, watching Neon Maniacs, painting a painting, watching Neon Maniacs, and it's one of those films where it's I hear a lot of noise. Look over, there you
There's
go.
boobs. Someone's being
Yeah,
killed.
and they live next to water.
That's the most mind-boggling thing I think of. If you're gonna give something a weakness, don't put it next to their weakness.
Yeah,
Like,
and Nancy, was it Nancy, I believe, or something, the girl that survives? She has an Olympic-sized fucking swimming pool at her house, because apparently she's fucking filthy-ass rich.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Even though her parents never fucking come home and be like, hey, why are you traumatized? What happened?
Yeah, right.
Everyone dead? You know? But they go to fight the monsters at the high school
with water guns.
with water guns, because, well, the high school doesn't have pools, do they?
Yeah,
Or shit,
why-
they do. But, like... It's just there's a costume party going over at the high school, so obviously that's where we're gonna fight the monsters because they think they're people in costumes because that's just funny.
Yeah.
And if you really look at really look at that in like a more realistic way, you're like, why the fuck are you doing this? Like, why did the writer go? Oh, there you go. Now it's Ernest Scared Stupid all of a sudden.
It's they said in the original script there was a lot of backstory on the maniacs themselves. Why they had a fear of water, why they live where they live. But
Yeah.
the script got lost, and some asshole has it probably sitting in their junk drawer somewhere, and we'll never know.
Could you imagine this film if it was just flowing from get-go?
Yeah.
It would be much better film.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I would love to know their backstory and why some of these maniacs, why is one a samurai, one's a biker, one's
Do you want the backstory or do you like it the way it is?
I don't know. With that kind of crazy costumes and stuff, I kind of want to know what you got going on. Like, where'd you come from and why? The biggest plot hole is why do you live next to water if your water kills you? And there has to be some type of story. Like, you can't tell me no one pointed out during production, like, why are they living next to water if water kills them?
I think the biggest explanation, but yet gives you more questions, is the end. At the end, they go into this fucking cave and they look and it's more like a bunker. And they look around, they can't see anything and everything's fine. And there's this big ambulance there. And at the end, the one sheriff, who's, all these fucking detective sheriffs that they're the dumbest assholes in the world, because he's kind of like, oh, God, give me a break, guys. He's always just being a dick. Opens the back door. All this light pours out like he's in a vortex of a different universe, like a portal. And that's where the lizard guy grabs him and pulls him in and shuts the door. So obviously there's a portal in a universe that's letting these things through from somewhere. Can you imagine the amount of questions that happened because of that?
Yeah, why is it in the back of a truck?
Yeah, exactly. So basically, the whole gist of this film is the question why gets asked a lot in your head while you watch it. You know, especially if you're watching cohesive, understandable plot lines. Okay.
What's the next one?
Next one is the final one, and this is going to be. Are you ready for this? It's going to be a mainstream film. Friday the 13th, Part 6. Jason Lives. Here we go. Reprising Tommy Jarvis is back again.
Oh, man.
But yet, he's not a fucking angry mental patient. He's pretty cool in this one.
Yeah. And it's also Tom Matthews who plays him from Return of the Living Dead fame.
Yes.
Both of them, actually. Both
3 mentions of Return of the Living Dead already.
Man, is that considered a mainstream movie now?
I guess so. We're knocking it out of the park.
Yeah.
And now, we're going to get back into why. 1986 was a change for horror. Holy fuck.
Oh my god,
Let's see.
A novel.
I don't know. In the film, signs aliens that could be killed with water decide to invade. I tried.
We'll read it later.
Okay, here we go.
Where are we at? Oh, yeah.
I want to say this. 1986, horror films, slasher films, especially slasher films. I think the phrase that you could probably sum everything up to is laugh or die. And not the actors or the people watching the films, the genre itself. Mm-hmm. You laugh at it or you die. You have to. Dark comedies really started pulling out of the woodwork to keep people focused, to keep them entertained. Sci-fi horror was a big thing because of that too. And you just had to break the fourth wall a little bit and bigger. And things got bigger. And this is the number one thing where Night of the Living Dead, or Friday the 13th rather, really did go big or go home. And started its own little subgenre within its own genre. Because the next 3 films that continued after this film, next 2 films or whatever, 7, 8, 6, 7, 8, are huge. They're massive. There's a lot of crazy stuff. They supernatural presence. They break those walls. Shit's going down. 80s metal, rock.
That's my biggest thing, too. It's a dead concept.
It's a dead concept.
You don't ever see where...
Put some more Warlock on.
Musicians write music for horror movies anymore. Alice Cooper wrote the theme song for this movie.
The man behind the mask.
It didn't stop with that either. I mean, a lot of other horror movies, Trick or Treat and... Dawkins did Nightmare on Elm Street. And you had Shocker. Or Shock.
Shock?
Not Shocker. Shock's another movie. Shock, though. Is it Shocker? No.
Shocker, because Shock's Mario Bobby.
That's right. I had it backwards. But also had a huge super band with Paul Stanley and some other dudes that did the whole soundtrack.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space?
Killer Clowns from Outer Space had the Dickies.
One of the best fucking songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they even wrote that song before ever even seeing the movie.
That was
they literally
great,
They told him about that and just told him to write it.
Yeah, the big studios were just part of the change up the formula and inject some comedy even though... Okay, keep it small. Okay, but yes. Yeah, you have to inject comedy or things weren't going to sell, because you wanted to get a more diverse audience too, because the thing is, I noticed a lot of these films, once they put the comedy in there, it balanced the gore, it balanced the violence, and then they started getting like PG ratings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And stuff got a little bit more lenient.
And this is the in my mind too, because violence is violence. But this is the PG Friday the 13th. There is, calm down, Greg, the guy who watches the other show, who watches this one. There's no fucking nudity in this film. And I'm fucking pissed about that, too. However, I still got the weirdest erection in my life. And there's a lot of comedy.
Can I just say, too, this is the only time the word fart is ever said in any of the original franchise.
You think I'm some dumb fart? Yeah!
That's the only time that word is ever said in the Friday the 13th series.
Fart.
Except for the 2009 release, which doesn't count anymore.
We don't talk about that.
That's not
we don't talk.
that.
Fuck you, Michael Bay.
Yeah.
But, I don't think Michael Bay did that. I'm not even
I don't
sure.
know,
but
whoever
fuck you
did,
anyway,
don't
Michael
touch
Bay.
it ever again.
Hey, guess what? Go kill yourself. Hope your family dies. And, but we go into this area where everything's a little bit, the one cemetery man, to the caretaker, talks to the audience. You don't fucking see that in any films back then.
Nope.
Actually talks to the audience. The cheesy ass with the one guy in the paintball suit gets smashed against the tree, and you see this bloody smiley face. Did that just happen?
Yeah.
Because it did.
Yeah.
It did just happen. However, this film has a lot of great kills. A lot of spearing, a lot of knives thrown in the faces. I mean, when the girl gets pushed through the whole side of the RV.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, it was one of the best.
Yeah.
And then the whole RV flips and Jason just stands on top of it as the RV sets on fire. It's like, holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great scene.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
And actually, we can't skip over the beginning. The beginning is fucking amazing. They unearth Jason. This is the start of Zombie Jason. The true start, I think, of Zombie Jason. And Zombie Jason, you take that paranormal aspect, you take all that shit, and you boost it to the next level. And, it's not surprising that in Part 7-1, you get Kane Hodder for the first time, which is fucking amazing. He was a great guy. I'm actually taller than him, which is weird. But you also get, the telekinesis girl. You get those weird supernatural things. You're breaking those walls down. So it kind of forms its own new genre within Friday the 13th itself.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Yeah, I like the movie, and I don't know. I was gonna say something important, but I trailed off.
Sorry.
So I'm sorry, guys. I'll think of it probably after we're done.
But when I don't know if I can't remember off the top of my head. Did they purposely spear him like that?
Oh well, Tommy has all these crazy flashbacks and snaps and grabs part of the fence and
he starts
just beating Jason out of anger. He had to dig the body up, make sure he was still in there, and then his friend's like, "All right, he's dead. Let's go."
Let's go.
And he just snaps and that during the thunderstorm just happens to be rolling by.
Yeah.
And it strikes the fence, charging Jason. Jason pops up out of the grave.
So, I mean, honestly, that's a homage to Frankenstein.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Frankenstein's the doctor,
not
the monster.
Yeah, don't ever
Don't
refer
ever do
to the
that.
monster. He actually is the nameless monster.
The nameless monster is a fiend.
Yeah, he doesn't have a name, actually.
But this
Fun
one
fact.
does. His name's Jason.
Voorhees. They were actually going to dabble a lot in the back history of Jason with his father and this, and they never really did too much.
Some things should be left unsaid.
Yeah, I know. I have mixed feelings about that. I really want to see Mrs. Voorhees' whole past and stuff with her father. And anyone who has Crystal Lake memories knows a lot of that stuff. I mean, they dabble in that in the book, where she was, had a child out of wedlock and her parents kicked her out. And, she had a deformed mongoloid child, worked at the church and the camp and all that stuff. So,
I mean, you definitely got an idea that was her whole life.
Yeah,
and that's why she snapped.
There's Nancy, and remember Nancy and the little girl in the movie?
In the first one?
No, in this movie.
And the little girl Nancy, the blonde girl that they play with the idea that Jason's gonna get her like 5 or 6 times. Jason never kills kids. Yeah. That's why as kids we thought he was the superhero. He was great. This fucking he fucks up all these teenagers that are giving us hard shit.
They said that was supposed to be a wink and a nod to Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nancy.
Because that was supposed to be because they later tied those movies together for Freddy vs. Jason.
Right.
And that was kind of like.
Hey, guess what?
Jason.
I didn't catch that, so it didn't work.
Yeah.
Did you catch it?
No.
No, it didn't work.
No, I didn't. It was. I actually read that online. I didn't even pick up.
I don't even think Nancy was blonde in Friday the 13th.
Well, people have, I guess, different haircuts. The thing that none of the timeline would have, because the film actually takes place in 1990. How many years after Nightmare on Elm Street even happened?
And that's the weirdest thing. Why would a film in 1986 take place in 1990? What an odd, arbitrary number to just throw up there.
Yeah, why don't I even understand why you set it that far into the future?
Yeah, why would you just say...
Were the other movies then filmed like
no, they're
92,
all
93?
Present day.
Yeah,
usually they said present day, like that Camp Lick-a-Hole. Present day.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Camp Blood.
It's just a fun movie, and it's not my favorite out of the franchise, but like you said, it definitely is what starts a whole new subgenre within the genre, and really starts. I think, like I said, Zombie Jason. You can't go wrong with Zombie Jason.
Wrong, no, exactly.
Jason was already cool and badass at that point, and we don't need to talk about the mainstream horror because you already know, but I feel that this is what made Jason cool.
This is what really shot Jason out to everyone else. Everyone else got Jason after this.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Camp Temple on.
There's a lot to say about the film too. I wrote some notes down too, but
just get in those notes.
It's one of those things where you don't really have to talk a lot about it because I mean, everyone's pretty much seen the movie.
I mean, again, we just
It's the
about
shortest running Friday the 13th film ever made, only coming in at 86 minutes. And, I don't know, man. I gotta look at my notes here.
You're looking at notes. Well, you know, the kind of funny.
18 bodies people were killed.
18 kill count.
Yeah.
And that's pretty interesting. They have the group in there, and she's even saying, you know, I've seen enough scary movies to know a freak in a fucking mask is not good times.
Yeah.
Doesn't stop the husband from going out and saying, well, how you doing? It's,
Yeah.
oh shit, I got stabbed in the gut.
Yeah.
And then when she dies and bubbled up in that, I thought it was pretty cool when she like get drowned in the mud puddle, and then her American Express card. She's you know it says American Excess instead of American Express. And that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Never leave
Things
home
like
without
that.
it.
Nope, never leave home without it. And of course, well, we talked about Alice Cooper, Man Behind the Mask, the whole deal. Camp counselor Sissy.
Yeah.
Pouring root beer on that guy's head, and then Jason just pops up, rips her out of the window, and spins her head around. Her eyes went right up in her head. I remember being like 11 or 12 and just being like, oh, that was an awkward boner. It was that moment that I knew that I wasn't right. Not all right, you know what I mean? There was like, oh, well, I'll just watch that again real quick. In slow motion.
Coming of age tale.
Nice. Good. It might have been like, I don't know, 10, 11, that area. It was something like that. It was in the VHS era. And then, of course, the last person who survives is Paula, which kicked back to Neon Maniacs. Paula, probably about the same fucking age, not 11, right?
Yeah.
Not 11?
Not 11.
Not 11. Not 9/11. Calm down.
Oh,
Too
can't
soon?
milk that cow anymore.
Yeah, look at that. Can't take that back.
Yeah. Too soon?
Too soon?
Sorry.
It's never too soon to make bomb jokes. Anyway, so this is... What do you think about this film?
What I think of as a whole, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Where it's a good movie. Anyway, as far as the Friday.
When we do our Friday the 13th best out of 10 list, though, it's not low.
No.
It's a high rating.
Yeah, that's a high rater.
It's in like the 3 or 4 category.
Yep.
You know.
So yeah, 7 will always be my all-time favorite.
That's mine too.
You know,
7's the best.
That's when Kane Hodder was introduced and just as awesome.
But I think though that's why this film is important, because without this film we wouldn't have had 7.
True.
And not because there's fucking numbers. I know how to count. I'm talking about the craziness of 7.
Yeah.
Started because of the craziness of 6.
I think this is when the real horror fans started kicking on too, because this is also the decline of the series as far as profit.
Oh yeah.
It came in one of the lowest profit sales.
That's when the diehards latched.
Yeah, that's when the diehards were like, no, I like this, and that's when we took the torch from the mainstream people and said, this isn't for you anymore.
Right. Exactly. Well, this is our list. We have we have Neon Maniacs, Chopping Mall, Night of the Creeps. Let's show them again. Let's just show
You want to
them.
go through? Go ahead.
Let's go. We have Chopping Mall, Night of the Creeps,
Neon Maniacs. We're over here.
Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives, and finally, Invaders from Mars. So there you go. That's been our 5 best films from 1986 is homage to his birthday, January 20th, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go. Yes, sir. Patty McGinty and his fermentation. There we go. Well, we'll see you later on the next edition of Maniacs Meat Podcast. Look out for Slasher Sunday.
Slasher Sunday is coming up. Yes, it's
Yes.
going to be a doozy.
It's going to be a doozy. And we're going to have another Maniacs Meat in 2 weeks. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Crikey.
Put a shrimp on a body. Anyway, this has been Paul.
Josh.